Good morning, students. How are you doing today? I hope you're fine and fantastic. I'm a teacher of political science and my name is Jigyas Punya. Okay, everyone, so we are going to start a journey of IAS UPSC preparation, and I welcome you on behalf of Tanaji's IAS Academy. Here, you guys get a platform where you can prepare with us till you guys get selected. Okay. So fresh batches for CSE 2021 are going to start very soon from 15th of October. Okay, so the very common question must come in your mind: why Tanaji's Academy? What makes it so special? Why this academy? If there are so many academies. So let's talk about one by one the features that we are going to offer you. First one is daily live classes. Daily live classes means you guys get an educator where you get engaged with the educator. You can discuss your doubts, you can ask your problems, and you will be answered properly. Okay, so this is very important aspect of our classes. The second part that we offer here is structured courses. Structured courses means, guys, when you appear for exam, you require certain books, certain notes, and these books and notes will be provided to you by Tanaji's Academy. Okay, so you will get all the important features which are very helpful in your preparation. You will get it on this platform. Okay, moving forward, third part that we offer you is live test and quiz. Live test and quiz means you guys get an opportunity to ask your questions and attempt the quiz online, and these will be live, that you will be intimated with your score and whatever you have gained from the test, and that is what the mock test and will help you enhancing your preparation. Moving forward, everyone, the fourth point, that you will get unlimited access to the archives of Tanaji's Academy. Here you guys will get pre-recorded lectures where you can not miss even a single content of your syllabus. If unfortunately you're busy, you can get to see all the recorded courses here. Okay, everyone, so moving forward, that is me. I am a teacher of political science. I have more than 5 years of teaching experience, and I believe that my teaching is a bit strategic. It will help you, and I will try my level best to make you satisfied. Okay, guys, coming to the topic, that is subscription. So you see that Tanaji's Academy is giving you plus subscription. So plus subscription means there has to be something important. So first thing first, if you are paid for 1 month, you will have to pay 7,000 rupees per month. But you see the amount is reducing every month if you increase the tenure. Like 3 months, it will be 6,000 per month. For 6 months, it will be 5,000 a month. But if you are pursuing your graduation, I would recommend and I would advise you to appear and apply for the courses 12 months, 24 months and 36 months. Because these 3 courses will help you comprehensively. You will be in touch with your studies. Okay, if you have just stepped in your graduation, so this is the best course you can apply. And at the very minimal cost of 1,25,000, not too much. Okay, everyone, so as you know, the books and study material, which is very important, you will get it by courier services at your doorstep. Okay, everyone, moving forward. So here, now I believe that you might have subscribed to the channel. Okay, everyone, if you haven't, please do subscribe and do like my video. And it is very, very important, guys, because if you like, share and subscribe this channel, it will help us to reach to every student who deserve and who want to study. Okay, so we are going to provide you free YouTube classes from 10th of October. The classes will contain UPSC preparation, IPS, IFS, MPPCS, UPPCS and BPSC. All these courses will be prepared here comprehensively. So subscribe the channel, like the video and share it. Okay, everyone, so not wasting too much of time, moving to the topic of our today's class, that is National Human Rights Commission, NHRC. So before we begin this, there is a quote from Mother Teresa about human rights. So let's see what does she talk about it. Okay, Mother Teresa talk about human rights are not a privilege conferred by the government. They are every human being's entitlement by virtue of his humanity. It is the human rights are not something that government can give you. It is something which you get as you take birth. It is your you can say your right to have it. It is your identity that you must get the virtue of human rights. So here Mother Teresa, we all know she has been also canonized by Vatican City, and now we call her Saint Mother Teresa. Okay, moving forward everyone, and this is a topic about NHRC. So let's talk about NHRC. So NHRC is an independent body, guys. I'll be sharing you here highlights, important points, but we will go in depth once we begin with the course. Okay, so NHRC in India, it is an independent body. What does independent body means? It means this body is working on its own, like none of the other organization or any person can interfere into the verdict given by the NHRC. And it is a statutory body. We know what is statutory body, executive body, and constitutional body. These all bodies you will come to know once you enroll into the regular courses, guys. Okay, so it was established on 12th of October 1993. So 1993 is a date you must remember. It might come in your prelims. Okay everyone, so moving forward, later it was amended in 2006. Few more contents had been added into this one. Okay, moving forward, NHRC celebrated its silver jubilee, like it completed 25 years on 12th of October 2018. Okay everyone, and its headquarters is located at New Delhi. So New Delhi is the capital of India. Okay everybody, moving forward. Okay, sometimes it is also considered as a watchdog. Watchdog for what? For human rights. Why? Because now every time and now and then we see there are atrocity taking place against women, against the people who belong to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and we mainly say them Dalits. Nowadays there is headlines going about Hathras gang rape, that is again done against the Dalit family and a girl who belonged to Dalit community. So here you see Human Rights Commission will come and interfere into this all things, and now the case is at CBI's end. So now you see that human rights is here to maintain that we get right to life, liberty, equality and dignity. And that is the reason that this organization is working to give us these all important aspects which guaranteed by the Constitution. Okay everyone, so moving forward. Okay, the next topic is it established its conformity with Paris Principle. So you see here this topic of Paris Principle is also important. I want you to tell me if you know what is Paris Principle. So guys, Paris Principle is something that you will tell me in the comment section. However, I am going to talk about it in coming slides. Okay, let's move forward guys. If we talk about Paris Principle, here something was done in order to promote and protect human rights, and it took place in 1991. You see, we actually formed it in 1993, so that means it is something related with the Paris Principles. Okay everyone, so here you see the UNGA, UN General Assembly actually formed this one on 20th of December 1993. Okay everyone, so very basic question is there, what are human rights? Why human rights are so important? What makes them so important? Why do we need human rights? Okay, so let's talk about this part also guys. So human rights. So as we talk about human rights, as per UN definition, rights are inherited to all the human beings regardless to their race, their caste, their sex, their nationality, ethnicity, language and religion. That means every individual who is living in this country is responsible or are here to uphold the values of human rights. And UN gives us this power where we can stand and stand against if the violation takes place in terms of these given things like race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion and so on. Okay everyone, so moving forward with the next point. So next point is human rights include the rights to life and liberty, freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, the right to work and education and many more. So these all things are also important in terms of including human rights. So human rights talk about here life and liberty and freedom. And here from what? Slavery. Slavery had been a very you can say traumatic part which existed very long time ago. Now we don't talk about this one, but this had been a bad practice, okay, and this leads to torture of the people. So you see, these all things are a question mark, like who is responsible, how people will get their freedom. Okay, so we have a body called NHRC. Can you tell me who is chairman of NHRC? Okay, you are right. The chairman is H.L. Dattu. Actually, his name is Justice L.H. Dattu. So sometime after we'll also come to know what is difference between a justice and judge. Look, so many answers are there waiting for you. Once you enroll with the course, you will get an opportunity to know many more things. These are essential to everyone without any discrimination. So fundamental rights are very important. They play very important role in terms of maintaining the decorum in the country and dignity and integrity of an individual. Moving forward, what is the background to have Human Rights Commission? So let's talk about the background. So the background begins with UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So this was adopted by UNGA. Can you tell me when UN was established? Yes, you're right. It was established on 24th of October 1945. Can you tell me, is there any old name for UN? Yes, we know that is League of Nations. League of Nations. But this was flopped. So here you see that in 1948, on 10th of December, UN General Assembly proposed this very important aspect called Human Rights Declaration. Okay, it is a milestone that we actually want to achieve in the history of humankind, where we will get, the opportunity to install all human rights in terms of making people aware about their rights, making people understand their rights. So many things are there and which are universally protected and accepted. So the next question can also come in your exam. Human Rights Day. When does Human Rights Day come? So Human Rights Day is observed on 10th of December every year. Every year on 10th of December, this Human Rights Day has been observed, and this is an anniversary celebrated by UDHR. Okay, so in 2018, Human Rights Day marked as a 70th anniversary declaration. So 70 years had already been completed. Okay, moving forward everyone, moving forward with the next point, that is in due time the growing importance of strengthening National Human Rights Institution has been recognized in 1991. The UN meeting in Paris has developed a detailed set of principles. So that means in Paris summit we had some principles that we discussed among the people who are member of UNGA and UDHR, where we come to know how to establish the foundation of human rights and how we should take the countries to initiate these all new terms into their country. So thank God in 1993 we took it very easily in our country. So nowadays we are able to handle few of the courses, few of the things that earlier these were not very much neglected due to the influence of the powerful people. So moving forward, everybody, in the pursuant of this principle, India has enacted Protection of Human Rights Act in 1993. So Protection of Human Rights Act is done by Indian government, and that is very important. However, still we have many cases every year piling up and telling us that still there is a scope to expand the ambit of NHRC in India. Okay, so moving forward, this act also authorized state governments to establish State Human Rights Commission. So that is why we have State Human Rights Commission, and that is very, very important that every people in state can approach in terms of violation of their fundamental right and human rights. Okay, everyone, moving forward. So what is Human Rights Council? There has to be a council, a member committee, the people should be working with each other. What makes it so important? So let's come to the topic. Human Rights Council is an intergovernmental body. So the governments actually involve into this procedure where we can see that people are working by amalgamating their values, their power, and they're working towards achieving the goal of Human Rights Commission. So UNGA, United Nations General Assembly resolution on 15th of March 2006 actually moved this body, and we can say this was created as a council for human rights. Okay, it has replaced former United Nations Commission of Human Rights. So earlier the body used to be United Nations Commission for Human Rights, was replaced by Human Rights Council. Okay, moving forward, it is responsible for strengthening the promotion and protection of human rights around the globe and for addressing situation of human rights violation and make recommendation to them. You see, guys, in our country there is a wider scope of human rights because in India people are divided on the basis of religion, caste, race, color, language. We often talk about like char कोस पे बदले पानी, 8 कोस पे बदले बानी. Like we have such a wider scope in India where people get to discriminate with each other at many stances. So here you see that the scope of human rights is wider in India. So we need to be responsible, we need to strengthening this body in order to promote the human rights in India. It has the ability to discuss all thematic human rights. So issues related with situation require attention. Okay, so here you see sometimes they recommend for the compensation to the victim because she has been through some heinous crime. So I don't believe that the money can compensate anything that is in terms of pain, but still it has been compensated and it is actually taking under care. So the council made 47 United Nations member states elected as a UN General Assembly. So these all are working together to make this wonderful thing working. Okay, what is the structure of Human Rights Commission? So let's see what is the structure. If we talk about the structure, so NHRC is a multi-member body. As I told you, it has members, but the members are not in a huge number because in terms of India, the number is quite low. So it is multi-member committee, multi-member institution where people consisted as a chairman and 7 other members. So like it makes it 8 members. Okay, out of 7 members, 3 are ex officio. So total members of the NHRC are 8, where 7 members are divided into 3 and 4. So 3 are ex officio member. Okay, who appoints the chairman of the committee? And that is president. President, we know, is a very important person of the nation, and it is de jure, right? So president in India is also known as the first man of the nation. He appoints the chairman of member of NHRC. Against the you can see the recommendations are done by the Prime Minister and high powered committee headed by the Prime Minister. Okay, the chairperson and the members of NHRC are appointed for 5 years till the age of 70, whichever comes first. So they can get retired at 70 or in 5 years. Okay, moving forward, everybody, the next point is they can be removed only on the charges of misbehavior or incapacity. Look, guys, if we talk about the impeachment of Chief Justice of India, that actually very similar to the charges proven against NHRC chairman. Okay, so the misbehavior and incapacity is the reason through which we can eliminate the candidature or the post of. We cannot actually eliminate the post, but the person who is sitting on that post. But that had not taken place so far. It has been working very smoothly. Commissions also have 5 specialized divisions. We have divisions working in NHRC, like law division is there, investigation is there division, okay, then policy and research, program division, training division, and administration division. So these all divisions are working in terms of making NHRC very important and a success. Okay, moving forward, the chairman and the member of state commission are appointed by the governor. That we know that the chairman and member are appointed by the state commission. Okay, where you see that the consultation is done with chief minister, home minister, speaker of Lok Sabha or speaker of legislative assembly, and so forth. Moving forward, everybody, functions of and powers of NHRC. So what are the powers and functions of NHRC? Let's talk about these things. First, NHRC investigate the grievances regarding the violence or violation of human rights. I'm sorry for the slip of tongue. So you see, guys, here the grievances are very important, that people should approach to the agency and tell what exactly is happening with them, how their human right has been violated by the XYZ authority, XYZ institution. That could be executive, that could be an individual or any influential people. So here we see that NHRC working on suo motu mode, that actually takes control on its own, and it has power to interfere with the judicial proceeding also. It can actually stop the proceeding, involve into the proceeding, and where the violation is done against human rights. It can visit to any jail or any other institution under the control of state government to see the living condition of inmates and to make recommendations, so to make the people live in a better way. It can review the safeguard provided under the constitution or any law for the protection of the human rights and can recommend appropriate remedial measures. So we see here there are so many reasons that NHRC is working, and we need that kind of organization. NHRC undertakes and promotes research in the field of human rights. We know that NHRC is doing a great job in order to maintaining the dignity and integrity of every individual in the country. Okay, moving forward, NHRC works to spread human rights in terms of literacy, like they actually literate people among various rights do we have, and how we should promote our rights, how we should get the benefit if someone is violating the rights, if taking away from us. So here you see it promotes the awareness among the people. It actually make people aware that they should know their rights, and they will also come to know if they are being violated. So they make it very important. They protect human rights throughout the many ways, like publications, media, seminar, and so on and so forth. Okay, moving forward, guys. So commission takes an independent stand while providing opinion for the protection of human rights within the parlance of the constitution. We know this thing that Human Rights Commission is an independent body. It takes stand sometimes the body is against state also, state in the sense of not government always, but sometimes state government also. It also has a power of civil court. You must remember, if it comes in your prelims, it might get you. Okay, so you see it is having a power like a civil court. It can grant interim relief. It also has an authority to recommend payment of the compensation. As I told you, 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. I think 10 lakhs is the biggest amount they can actually refer to. NHRC credibility is duly reflected in the large number of complaints received every year and trust reposed in it by the citizens. So every year many people are approaching NHRC platform in order to make people aware that their rights have been violated. It also recommends both center and state government to take suitable steps to prevent the violation of human rights. So it actually publishes the guidelines where we see the prevention of violation of human rights is done. And again, the annual report sent to president, where president personally look into the reports and summon a meeting with the chief of NHRC. So you see, this is a mechanism which makes a country flowing in a smooth way and leads to a proper democracy in the country. Okay, so if there is a power, there should be some limitations also. So let's talk about limitation. NHRC does not have any mechanism of investigation. Look guys, I told you it is a team of 8 people, so they are working very hard in order to install human rights, but they take help from subsidiary people. Like you can see, they take help from local thanas, state and government employees. In majority of cases, it asks the concerned central and state government to investigate the cases of the violation of human rights. So actually the people who are in police or special investigation team, they actually work under these people and they provide raw material to NHRC, and NHRC makes it sure that the things are taken care of properly. It also has been termed as India's testing illusion. Why this term has been given, again it is a matter of concern. Let's see how many of you know what does this term means. India's teasing illusion by Solis Sorabji, is a former Attorney General of India, due to incapacity to render any practical relief to the aggrieved parties. So you see that sometimes we fail to provide exact justice to the people who deserved it and the victim. So this is what India's teasing illusion. So you find the meaning of this one and put it in the comment section. Okay, NHRC can only make recommendation without the power to enforce decision. Okay, so NHRC can make recommendation, but there is a condition: only make recommendation without the power to enforce decision. We cannot enforce decision. Many times NHRC is viewed as a post-retirement destination for judges and bureaucrats. Sometimes we get retired from the post that we have been working for our life, and now we are working for Human Rights Commission. Sometimes governments also take it in a negative way, that might be some XYZ person or people are actually doing nepotism and or actually doing buttering to the government or not doing their work properly, so that government give them certain post. So government has come up with a bill that for 2 years you will not be eligible to take up any house of profit. Okay, a large number of grievances go unaddressed because NHRC cannot investigate the complaint registered after 1 year incident. So you see, if you talk about it has been 1 year, more than 1 year, so the incident is very important that we know that victim should approach to court or to NHRC, but we should make sure that it should be within 1 year, or we should make it like 1 week that it took place, because after a year the evidences are very weak, so NHRC feel very helpless in order to prove the existence of the same. So here we talk about government often outrightly rejects recommendation of NHRC, or there is a partial compliance to these recommendation. Sometimes government also not take it very seriously, because they believe that the recommendation is not done properly. State Human Rights Commission cannot call for information from national government, which means that they are implicitly denied the power to investigate armed forces under national control. So you see guys, we have certain kind of branches like army or IB or something which is very sacred to us. So their Human Rights Commission rarely involve. So let's talk about the another point. NHRC is related to the violation of human rights by armed forces have been largely restricted. However, in recent years we have been witness to many crimes taken place under the ambit of army, and the people have been also convicted and punished by the concerned authority. So suggestions: there is a need for a complete revamping of NHRC to make it more effective and truly a watchdog of human rights violation. So we should know this if you really want to take it as a watchdog of human rights. So we need to empower the institution in order to deliver justice to every individual in the country, irrespective of their caste, religion, creed, language, and etc., and so on and so forth. NHRC efficacy can be enhanced by the government if commission decisions are made enforceable. There is a need to change in the composition of commission by including members of civil society and activists. NHRC needs to develop an independent cadre to staff. These all are requirements that we need. Like we should have at least a cadre where we can train the people how to work, and so the outcome should come very effectively out. Okay. Many laws are also in India which are very old and archaic in nature. So amending those laws and bringing government a right point where they can actually get agree on. So to improve the strengthening the human rights situation in India, state and non-state actors need to work in the tandem. Okay, moving forward everyone. Okay, that is all for the course, and I told you guys on 10th of October I'll be live for you all, and from 15th of October our regular classes are starting up. So I would request you all to please enroll into Tanaji's IS Academy. I would again request you to, if you are preparing for 2021, 2022, 2023, then take certain courses that I told you in plus subscription. You will get certain kind of facilities here: live classes, face-to-face interaction, recorded lectures, study material, assignment, discussion classes, test series, current affairs. And if you are very eagerly waiting here, you can call us on this contact number, or you can log in on this website, and this is Gmail ID and this is website. You can go on and fill up the form. Okay, moving forward everybody, exam will be held on 11th of October. I'm talking about which exam? This is your scholarship. So at 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. register yourself till 10th of October until 5 p.m. Okay, there will be live test also. You should hurry up now. Okay guys, I welcome you again on behalf of Tanaji's Academy. Again, you have to pay 499 a minimum charges for registration fees only. Okay everyone, you can contact to the given numbers here. Okay, moving forward, thank you very much. Have a nice day. It was a nice class and it was a nice talking to you everybody. We will meet in our regular classes. I am a teacher of political science, and my name is Jigasu Punya. I am signing off from my courses now. Thank you everybody. Thank you. Have a nice day.